You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Welcome to From Beneath the Hollywood Sign. If you love old movies, Hollywood history, or the golden age of filmmaking, you've come to the right place. This is the podcast that talks about amazing stories of Tinseltown from another era and fascinating conversations with writer-producer Steve Cubine and actress-writer Nan McNamara.
So, Steve, did Ava Gardner and Howard Hughes have a good relationship?
Well, they did until he dislocated her jaw.
What?
Well, don't worry. She hit him back with an ashtray.
From Beneath the Hollywood Sign is the gin joint for you.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neil, and Jeff. This is Triviality. The cream of the crop!
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the show where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Matt and I will be your host today. Today we have a grudge match coming off of last week's victory. Jeff and Neil are looking to continue their winning ways against me and Ken.
Yeah, for some reason, my voice is still gone after a week, so I guess I'm not getting any healthier. So I could be dead by the end of this.
It's almost as if no time has passed at all.
You need to spend some time in a hyperbaric chamber a la LeBron James. There's only one man we feel who can host this epic grudge match between the two of us. The man who has written so many of those question fives that we've asked over
Our first patron.
And I'm building it up for David Raffetto. How's it going?
Going very well. Great to be here, guys.
So you wrote a game for us today. How do you think we're going to do today?
So having listened to all your episodes, I have a decent idea of what everyone's strengths and weaknesses are. So I tried to write this where it's a pretty balanced game. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. But
if you use Triviality Pursuit for Kids, I feel like we'll be in a good spot. Otherwise, we'll see how it goes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself today?
So name is David Raffetto. I live in Houston, Texas with my wife and two boys. I work at MD Anderson Cancer Center. I work in our development office, raising money for a lot of our research efforts. Host trivia every now and then, but I really prefer to play. So every Wednesday night, I get together with my buddies and we do our best. We're, I would say maybe at least half the time we usually leave with the trophy.
Pretty good.
But so the last time I was on the show, I appeared with my buddy Jason.
That's right.
And Neil, as a solo player, just demolished everybody.
It's never going to happen again. So
he was taking his limitless pill that day, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So my pride was so wounded, I figured this time I'll just show up and host, and I don't have to worry about the heat of competition.
All right, great. Sounds good.
Yeah, and so we were going to start a little earlier, but Jeff was actually a little late. He had a birthday party for his grandma. So David had to wait a little bit, but it wasn't too bad.
Hey, grandma gets priority, so no worries.
Grandma always gets priorities. So what we're going to do today, what we do every single game, is going to be 2 rounds of 10 questions with a halftime round written by David, going into the final round with 5 categorized questions that we can wager 0 to 30 and up to the points we've accumulated so far. All right, and then after the final round, we will find out who is today's cream of the crop.
The cream will rise to the top, oh yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, here we go, guys. Question 1. The terms hawker, darner, and clubtail all describe what kind of insect? Hawker, darner, clubtail all describe what kind of insect?
I have a thought on this one.
Okay.
Can I see what you wrote?
That is literally what I was thinking.
Yeah, let's do it then.
We're on the same page.
All right,
2 weeks in a row.
2 weeks in a row. Not the same day at all.
Where does Dragonfly come in? Just
because you can catch darners in Zelda and they're dragonflies.
Oh, all right, well then there you go. I'm fine with that. That's cool.
Any way you can get to the answer, right?
I guess.
Yeah, that's fine with me. Yeah, let's go. So Jeff and myself are going to go with Dragonfly.
I think there's something like that, or maybe whatever the illuminating bugs are.
Well, it's too late now. So
late.
We also went with Dragonfly. Just sound like something that would have those varieties.
Mm-hmm.
And right out of the gate, 10 points for each team. All Dragonfly
right.
is the correct answer.
Very different approaches to that one.
All credit to Zelda Breath of the Wild on that one.
Always looking out for that clubtail.
I lost at least a month of my life playing that game.
I feel like I gained a month of my life.
I feel like I always at trivia competitions or just pub trivia, they always ask a Zelda question, and people always assume that Zelda is the male character, and I feel like a lot of people always get that wrong.
Just like the guy's name from Die Hard is Die Hard.
Right, John Die Hard.
Right.
All right, here we go. On to question 2. Before the franchise moved to Los Angeles, the Brooklyn Dodgers played in what baseball stadium between 1913 and 1957? Jackie Robinson made his major league debut here.
Oh, I'm trying to picture. There was a documentary they did about this and how old baseball players.
We're in, by the way.
You're in? Okay. They didn't get paid like millions of dollars, so
Right.
they would actually have normal jobs, then would take the train to go to work and play baseball instead of getting pampered. But I can't remember. I thought Shea Stadium was one of them, but that's the Mets.
I thought that's where the Mets played, but I could be wrong. I mean, that's the only stadium I can think of that's not currently
The only thing
stadium.
that's giving me pause though is the Beatles played at Shea Stadium, and I don't know if it changed over to. I thought it was at the Dodger Stadium, but maybe it was in LA. I don't know, but that's the only thing that came to my head was Shea Stadium.
I'm good going with that. I've got nothing better.
Okay, that's fine. We're gonna lock in with Shea Stadium.
Okay, so it's not, obviously not Yankee Stadium. Shea Stadium is where the Mets played, but they didn't come into the league until later than Jackie Robinson was playing. I think it's something that I always guess when it's an older stadium, and I'm not even sure if it's in New York, but I think it is. And I said Emmett's Field.
So can you pronounce that one more time for me?
Emmett's with an M. Is that
Okay.
wrong?
I believe
So your correct answer is Ebbets Field.
I know.
B.
I was in between, so I thought maybe I'd slur that word. Just get it.
As soon as you
That's why I
as soon
asked.
as you said it, I went, "Ooh, he's got it wrong."
So
Yeah.
you're thinking of Emmett Smith's stadium, right?
Emmett's Field, which is his backyard because he was so wealthy playing football.
Yeah, he owns most of
Oh,
Texas
that's so
now.
right. I should have thought of the Jackie Robinson movie with Harrison Ford. You
Yes.
go out there and you play, and you don't get offended.
He was not
Whatever.
Jackie Robinson, right?
He would be a very good actor. Daniel Day-Lewis was Jackie Robinson.
It's very controversial.
All right, moving on to question 3. In the 2003 film Lost in Translation, Bill Murray's celebrity character shoots a commercial for what Japanese whiskey brand?
It's that Japanese knowledge you have. We went over this.
I'm in 100%.
I can't remember. I'm not a huge fan of this movie, so I can't.
I mean, I saw it once more than a decade ago, so I don't remember.
I can see the bottle. I can see the commercial where he's on the stool and him doing the commercial, but I don't know. I can't come up with the name. Do you just want to go with this, even though it's incorrect?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, we know it's wrong. We're just going to say Johnny Walker.
For relaxing times, make it Suntory time. Suntory.
Very good. That's correct. Suntory is your correct answer.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite films.
Yeah, so I love Sofia Coppola, and I so badly wanted her to win Best Picture for that film. Unfortunately, she lost to Lord of the Rings: Return of the King,
Yeah,
which
I can't argue with
seems
that.
like a grave injustice.
Classic
I
movie that everyone here loves.
Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings. So like, if it was any other year, I would have given it to.
Do you think
to
that was
her.
the best one in the trilogy, though? Because that's kind
I-
of where
I kind of do. Like in terms of emotional thrust, I think so for sure.
Speaking of our Patreon bonus episode, that is the other sequel. It's Godfather Part 2 and Return of the King are the only two sequels to win Best Picture.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, on we go to question 4. Flynn, a fluffy white dog from Michigan, was awarded the 2018 Best in Show title by the Westminster Kennel Club. Though often depicted as a French dog and sounding like one, Flynn's breed actually has Spanish origins, where it once served as a sailing companion. What breed is Flynn?
I think we're good on this one.
We are locked in.
Based on the hints, that seems right.
Yeah, it's funny. I was having breakfast, pancakes, the other day, and
Very specific.
yeah, sorry. Well, it was at a pancake house.
They're potato. They're browned a little bit more. I asked for them a little bit better down than usual.
Ken and I had been there before, and there's a dog competition. Not this one, but there's a dog competition, like agility or whatever they call it.
Right.
And the waiter for 3 tables, every time a dog would run, he'd stop and he'd go, "Oh, that's so awesome! It's slow motion." He wouldn't deliver anyone's food. It was like cute, but it was also really frustrating. My pancakes came late.
Yeah.
And cold.
And cold.
We are. Are you guys in?
Yeah, we're in.
All right,
think
we
so.
are going with Maltese on this one.
Okay.
Oh, could be. We went Bichon Frise.
Oh, it sounds fancier.
Your correct answer, Bichon Frise.
I've never heard of that.
I always hated.
Shockingly.
Well, you haven't heard of it because it wasn't a Godzilla movie.
Right.
I always hated the dog show when I was in high school because it would preempt Raw, and I just wanted to see Stone Cold and The Undertaker, and instead I saw a Saint Bernard and some other dog that I didn't care about.
Why don't they do Puppy Mania like they do the Puppy Bowl? They should have like a Stone Cold, a French Bulldog or something.
There's an Air Bud movie where he wrestles. It's close enough.
All right, question 5. Brothers Cirrus and Akinar are characters from what 1993 computer game?
Cirrus and Akinar.
I'm just trying to think of 1993 computer games, which means probably not on a console.
Yeah,
so we're
it's
looking at
like-
something.
I had a couple console guesses, but
We're locked in. You guys can talk about what you want to talk about.
So Cirrus sounds to me like something space related.
Right. I agree with you on that.
Akinar, anything?
I mean, I don't see that as also not maybe being space related.
Do you have anything
alien
that's
or
any computer game though? A computer game is weird to me because I feel like
Asteroids.
right. It's yeah.
It was way earlier.
A little earlier.
It's not this, but for some reason Akinar makes me think of that Fox. Is it?
Star Fox.
Star Fox.
No,
Yeah, that wasn't a computer game.
Well, it was a console game, but it was also later.
Do a barrel roll.
Can you think of
Do
any space related computer game from 1993? Like that wouldn't be a Warcraft, or that's too early, right?
No, StarCraft.
StarCraft?
I think StarCraft is too late. I guess
You want to do StarCraft?
I'm good with that. I've got nothing better.
Okay, we're going StarCraft.
Yep, and we went with the only computer game I could think of, Myst.
So much later, this game was eventually released on console, but it debuted as a CD-ROM game for computer. Your correct answer is Myst.
All right.
Wow.
good job, Matt.
So it once held the title for the best-selling PC game, and then finally in 2002, The Sims ended up passing it. But
I feel like Myst came with like every computer. Like if you had a computer, you had a Myst, like in the mid 90s.
And I thought Myst was a little later. That's why I never even thought about it. I thought it was like 95 or so,
halfway through the first round, we've got Jeff and Neil with 20, Ken and Matt with 30.
All right.
Don't call it a comeback.
All right, moving on to question 6. 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence. How many of those would go on to become president of the United States?
Pretty sure.
Okay, I made a list for.
Yeah, I checked it twice.
Where are you going to lock in with that?
I'm not sure
I think
about
that's the
this
full
one.
list. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll lock in if you want to explain your reasoning, Ken. We're in.
I just wrote down Washington, Adams, Jefferson, Madison, Monroe. I don't think it goes further than that for signers. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Adams, Jefferson, Madison, and Monroe did for sure. I don't know about Washington.
I'm on the fence about Washington. I think we're in with this, so we're just going with.
We're gonna go with all 5.
I'm almost positive George Washington did not sign it. We went Madison, Monroe, Jefferson, and Adams the first, so for 4.
So no points awarded here. The answer is only 2, believe it or not. Adams and Jefferson were the only 2 to go on to become president. 2 is your final answer.
Hey, we'll take that.
Wow. Wait, we were pretty close.
All right, moving on to question 7. Who reached number 1 on the Billboard charts in 1976 with the album Songs in the Key of Life?
All right, we're in, guys. You can talk.
So we're looking at
1976.
76 and reach number 1. So that's prime Simon and Garfunkel era, right? Maybe it's Paul Simon. Maybe it's we got a Crosby, Stills, or Nash somewhere in there.
Yeah, I don't think they were number 1. I don't mind the Simon and Garfunkel angle.
Okay, we're gonna lock in with Simon and Garfunkel.
So this person, great instrumentalist, many hits, just a crazy career, still going. Stevie Wonder.
Oh,
Stevie Wonder is your correct answer. Oh. Yeah, that album included the songs "Isn't She Lovely," which a lot of people know. It also included a track called "I Wish," which would later be sampled by Mr. Will Smith for one of the greatest tracks in modern American music, "Wild Wild West."
Yeah.
Jim West, Desperado.
Rough Riders.
You don't want nada.
I gotta see that movie again.
Bienvenidos a Miami.
Doesn't wrong song. Get out
Don't
of
care.
here.
All right, moving on. Question 8. What term, which originated in the Algonquin languages, refers to a dwelling with an arched framework overlaid with bark or hides?
Does that seem right? I mean, that seems easy too, so I'm not sure.
Let me just. I'm good with what Mac came up with here. So we are locked in.
Jeff wrote TP, which I can kind of get behind. It does say arch. Is a TP an arch though, or technically?
I mean, it could be. Of all the other types of dwellings and structures, unfortunately, I can't think of any other names. I mean, there was longhouses and other things depending on the tribe, but none of those have.
But he did say it was covered with bark, and it was bark and what, David?
Bark and hides.
So here's the deal.
Hides.
Just because of the depictions that we see commonly doesn't mean that they're accurate. So I'm still inclined to believe that it could be a teepee.
Okay. Are you saying our historical context is all out of whack?
No, I'm saying that no historical context is often provided in pop culture.
Yeah, hashtag Israel Bissell. No, I just wanted to make sure that there weren't any. I just didn't want to go all in on something when we didn't talk about it. But I'm fine with that answer if you want to go with it.
Yeah, I'm good going teepee.
We also went with teepee.
Yeah, so I'm worried now. My language was not precise enough. When I said arched, I was including that word to hopefully dissuade you from selecting teepee. The answer I'm looking for is one of my favorite words to pronounce: wigwam. Is the answer I was looking for. All right, question 9. Melchior, Caspar, and Balthazar are better known collectively as what? Okay. I'm not sure what they have in common with George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, and Ice Cube.
Oh, no.
Thanks for that clue, David.
Yeah, no thanks for that clue, David. Because I had it from the get-go.
Yeah.
I think Neil needed the clue.
Yeah.
I did need the clue.
Did you need the clue?
No.
Okay.
Oh, you knew it without the clue?
No, I didn't know it either way.
Okay.
All right, so 3 kings for us.
3 kings.
Yep, the 3 actors and names star in the 1999 movie 3 Kings. I also would have accepted 3 wise men, 3 magi, but yes, 3 kings is correct. Question 10. Polaris, commonly known as the North Star, is the brightest point in what constellation?
Okay.
Good.
Do you know it at all? You like star stuff?
Some star stuff.
We are star stuff.
I mean, it's got to be either
Sagan.
It's got to either be Big Dipper or Little Dipper. What's the Orion's Belt or?
Well, there's also Orion.
It's got those are like the big ones, right?
Yeah,
That's the only stars in the sky. You're
Ursa
right.
Major.
There's only like 7 stars in the sky.
That's all of them.
In Chicago,
Yeah, we just see a lot of window light from the skyscrapers. I'm just thinking logically from a trivia standpoint because I know nothing about these, but if I would think it'd be one of those. If they got it that quick, it's got to be one of those.
Probably. You're saying we don't know our stars?
I know stars, but only the ones on the Walk of Fame.
we can go Big Dipper.
Okay. All right, we're going Big Dipper.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the bottom right corner of the Big Dipper, if I remember correctly, because I took astronomy once like 12 years ago, so probably not. But we said Big Dipper.
So close, gentlemen. I was looking for Ursa Minor or the Little Dipper.
See, our minds always go big.
See,
so.
I did say it though. But
it
was in the list.
I gave you the list, so
I didn't know. Still don't know.
You're taking credit for making a list of 4 constellations.
Yes.
And then guessing the wrong one.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's move on.
At least it was in the list.
So after the first round, we've got Jeff and Neil with 40. We've got Ken and Matt also with 40. Tie game going into the halftime.
So before going into halftime, David, we were talking collectively here about you being our. We're just going to call you our first listener, even though it might not factually be correct. But what has that stopped us here on Triviality?
It's probably your mom.
It was Neil's mom.
It's probably my mom, yeah. So you've been listening the longest. So what are some favorite moments of the show since you're in the host chair now?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I'll say the most recent episode from I was listening to from when we're recording now was the live episode when you guys were up in Geek Bowl. I just thought it had great energy, funny moments, the whole thing. I know it's sort of something new and outside the box for you guys, but I thought it came off remarkably well from the listener perspective.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
So no more editing.
You bet.
Yeah, no more editing. We'll just do live from now on.
And I'll just stay home. Is that how this works?
And then I always appreciate a good Swayze reference. And then one of my favorite sort of answers ever given was the mitochondriana.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm remembering that right.
One of the Patreon episodes, I believe.
Yep. It was a Patreon episode. Yeah, mitochondriana.
We definitely don't want to encourage Neil for more Swayze references, to be honest. So we might cut that one back a little bit.
Well, yeah, we might have to ghost some of those references.
I would say probably my favorite halftime ever was I don't remember how many episodes ago it was, but the one where it was the MIDI music of the video game, the video game music. That was I didn't do particularly well on it, but it was really fun. We'd read the answers, going, oh yeah. So
maybe we should do a music round coming up soon because those are fun.
All right, and just a reminder too, we are still looking to get up to 50 reviews, still at 42. So let's get some of those in, and we can start sending out some of those fabulous prizes that we're promising.
What are those fabulous prizes again?
It's a mystery.
It's a mystery prize
box.
It's a magical mystery tour.
Okay, for your mid-round, I'm going to give you the first sentence of a well-known novel, and your job is just to name the book. I don't need to know the author's name. And going through these, they're in I would say in all but maybe one, they're sort of loaded with context clues, character names, specific settings. So hopefully it's not as daunting as it sounds.
It was the blurst of times.
So basically, questions 1 through 3 are 50 Shades Darker, 50 Shades Freed, which I don't know the opening.
Mr. Christian Grey.
All right, here we go with number 1. It was a pleasure to burn. All right, number 2. We were somewhere around Barstow on the edge of the desert when the drugs began to take hold. All right, number 3. Boys are playing basketball around a telephone pole with a backboard bolted to it. All right, number 4. Where's Papa going with that axe? Said Fern to her mother as they were setting the table for breakfast.
I've heard that one.
Number 5. It was a queer, sultry summer, the summer they electrocuted the Rosenbergs, and I didn't know what I was doing in New York.
This is going to show that we don't read.
Speak for yourself.
Number 6. This happened in 1932 when the state penitentiary was still at Cold Mountain.
That one's really going to bug me.
All right.
All right, number 7. To the red country and part of the great country of Oklahoma, the last rains came gently, and they did not cut the scarred earth.
Sounds like J.R.R. Tolkien.
All right, number 8. It was a bright, cold day in April when the clocks were striking 13.
I knew one.
Number 9. The boy with fair hair lowered himself down the last few feet of rock and began to pick his way towards the lagoon. And number 10, the last one. The village of Holcomb stands on the high wheat plains of western Kansas, a lonesome area that other Kansans call out there. I'll just run them off in order. Number 1, it was a pleasure to burn. Number 2, we were somewhere around Barstow on the edge of the desert when the drugs began to take hold. Number 3, boys are playing basketball around a telephone pole with a backboard bolted to it. Number 4, where's Papa going with that axe? Said Fern to her mother as they were setting the table for breakfast. Number 5, it was a queer, sultry summer, the summer they electrocuted the Rosenbergs, and I didn't know what I was doing in New York. Question 6. This happened in 1932 when the state penitentiary was still at Cold Mountain. Number 7. To the red country and part of the gray country of Oklahoma, the last rains came gently, and they did not cut the scarred earth. Number 8. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13. Number 9. The boy with fair hair lowered himself down the last few feet of rock and began to pick his way towards the lagoon. And number 10. The village of Holcomb stands on the high wheat plains of western Kansas, a lonesome area that other Kansans call out there.
This is tough.
A couple of these are really, really eating me because I know I've heard them or maybe even read the books.
3 or 4 of these that we're pretty sure on, and then we have some educated guesses, but it's going to be pretty tough.
We are locked in.
Oh, you are? Okay.
So now you guys can...
That one I feel like is not too far out of what we can get, but I'm getting nothing on it. So
okay, so we're not going to have anything.
David's really enjoying the discussion.
No, it's
you're
some of the logic is, I think, better than maybe you guys realize. It's interesting, right? Because I'm used to hearing sort of our own team dynamics. It's interesting to hear other teammates play.
Well, I think we tap dance into a few of these.
We also,
but it's hard to say until we hear the answers.
We also kind of cut some of this stuff inevitably, or when we're playing one-on-one, it never comes up at all. So
what the hell is with the fern? Like I know you're right. The dad goes and kills something.
This one makes me furious.
What would be a book about?
That's not like Charlotte's Web or whatever. Are they trying to kill the pig in Charlotte's Web or something?
That sounds pretty good.
The other one that came to mind, and I know it's totally wrong because that one starts with like preparing for a funeral, but it's As I Lay Dying by Faulkner. But I don't think that's. Yes, that's a great band.
I like Charlotte's Web. That's fine.
Yeah, man.
Because I like the idea that he's going to murder. He has to be killing like a pig or a cow or something.
Like I'm never in more pain than this round, apparently.
Okay.
Because like all of these feel attainable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like normally it's like, I don't know, I give up. But this is like, it's like I've heard most of these.
All right, time for answers. Number 1, it was a pleasure to burn. What'd you guys put?
Initially, I wrote down Dante's Inferno because I was just thinking about things that were hot. But then Ken came up with Fahrenheit 451, and that's what we locked in with.
There's nothing really more I can add to that. I think Neil and I pretty quickly came to Fahrenheit 451 on that one.
Yep, your correct answer, Fahrenheit 451.
Cool.
Yeah, that was okay. So that was the one I was sure of.
Yeah.
All right, number 2, Barstow, Edge of the Desert, drugs began to take hold. What'd y'all put?
Believe this is the Hunter S. Thompson
Fear and Loathing
in Las Vegas.
So we were between 2. For some reason, we just wrote down On the Road because they were traveling and there's a lot of drugs in that book. But when the drugs took hold, for both Jeff and I, we both thought Fear and Loathing because it was a movie and we figured it was a book. So.
The other thing is Barstow, California is in the desert near Vegas. So that was where I pulled my geography knowledge from.
Yep, both got it right. Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Cool. Good start.
Here's where it goes downhill.
And the rest.
All right, number 3, boys playing basketball around a telephone pole.
So this took me a little while, but initially Richard Wright's work popped right into my head. So it took me a long time to come up with the title of any Richard Wright book. It's been a long time since I've read any of them, but ultimately we went with Black Boy.
And we just went with Hoosiers just because, we didn't know.
Yeah, so this was sort of my one selfish addition to the list. It's one of my favorite books. It's about a guy named Rabbit Angstrom, a former sort of high school superstar, and him trying to figure out his life afterward. John Updike's novel Rabbit Run is the answer. All right, number 4, where's Papa going with that axe?
All right. Well, this is something I watched the cartoon when I was a kid over and over. I'm almost 100% sure it's Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, and shout out to my favorite character, Templeton the Rat.
I sure hope that you're right. Neil and I were really struggling. This one caused me personally a great deal of pain because I figured it had to be a human or an animal getting killed or something like that. And finally, after a few minutes, we finally figured out it was Charlotte's Web. So I think that hopefully that's right.
Correct answer. Charlotte's Web. Points for both teams.
It's really really irritating when I heard you guys discussing it for like 5 minutes and then to hear, what about Charlotte's Web? Yeah. Great job.
All right.
Goes both ways.
All right. Number 5, queer sultry summer in New York City. The summer the Rosenbergs were electrocuted. What were y'all's answers?
So Matt had initially written Great Gatsby, but I happen to know that that's not the starting line of that book, though I can't really recall it exactly. Something about my father gave me advice to remember about not judging others, something like that. So we just kind of guessed Catcher in the Rye.
Holden Caulfield and his human hunting hat.
So we didn't really know. We thought it had a Gatsby ring to it. Apologies again for my voice. So we wrote down The Last Tycoon. What I was thinking in the back of my head, I didn't say out loud because I didn't want to sound like an idiot, but there's an author who killed herself. Not the one from The Hours. Is there a I think Anyway, I think it's attributed to an author who killed herself famously, and I can't remember her name. But anyway, we went with The Last Tycoon.
So Catcher in the Rye is a great guess for a New York City novel. What I was looking for was The Bell Jar, Sylvia Plath.
That's the author who killed herself, Neil.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have helped. We wouldn't have got it, but
Why did I not remember that?
I don't even know what The Bell
Have you
Jar
read
is.
The Bell Jar?
Yeah, long time ago, like 15 years ago.
Oh, I don't blame you for
Yeah.
that.
when I was a whining adolescent teen girl.
Right.
Which you still are.
No, that book is really good. It's all about basically growing up in a metropolitan area and feeling like dissonance with the environment around you. It's beautifully written, Plath. Yeah.
All right, number 6, 1932, when the state jail was still at Cold Mountain.
Just had to go off the year and the jail setting and went with Green Mile.
Yeah, we were looking at each other, and when Jeff said that Cold Mountain was in Georgia, I thought of Georgia 1932 jail, and I went with Green Mile as well.
Yeah, this one sent a shiver right up my spine, so I'm hoping it's right.
Green Mile is correct.
All right.
Good job, teams.
Classic King.
Speaking of which, I really need to use the washroom right now.
Sure.
I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, right.
All right, number 7, to the red country and part of the gray country of Oklahoma. What were your answers?
So we didn't know exactly what this was. The wordage of scarred earth sounded very descriptive, sort of like Cormac McCarthy. And the only Cormac McCarthy book I could come up with is one I read in college, and I put Blood Meridian.
We went a little older and took the same sort of descriptions to mean maybe the Dust Bowl and went with Grapes of Wrath.
Ooh.
Good logic. Grapes of Wrath is
All
the
right.
correct answer.
That was one that we just went on at the end kind of and just pulled that one out. So
Yeah, I kind of went on a limb on that one, but I
Yeah.
used some context clues like he was saying.
All right, number 8 might be the one that doesn't have many context clues, but it's sort of a famous first line. It was a bright, cold day in April, and the clocks were striking 13.
Yeah, so for this one, I was actually going to write a question about this a long time ago when we first started the podcast. It was going to be on my first test episode, but I thought it might be too hard, so I ended up throwing it out, but I never forgot it. So we put 1 year before I was born.
George Orwell classic, 1984.
Yeah, we were off, though we did get the dystopian sort of sci-fi element here, and Matt selected Clockwork Orange.
Your correct answer, 1984, the Orwell classic. All right, on to number 9. The boy with fair hair lowered himself down the last few feet to the lagoon.
This is one that, again, I kind of went out on a limb on, but kind of just took the context clues. I believe this is Lord of the Flies, and I think the reason the description's kind of vague like that, like the boy with fair hair, is because none of the children knew each other at the beginning of the book.
I kind of had a weirdly similar train of thought. I couldn't place why, but it felt kind of like a piggy almost at the end, but I couldn't remember the sequence. But we went Lord of the Flies.
Correct answer, Lord of the Flies.
Ooh.
You guys are killing this.
William Golding.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad here.
I don't feel great about it, but at least with a team, a team, we're able to talk it out. Like by myself, I would have just been dead.
yeah,
So.
I'd have about 10 right now, probably.
All right, number 10. The village of Holcomb stands on the high wheat plains of western Kansas. What were your answers?
We just went 100% with the Kansas angle and just wrote Wizard of Oz, which I don't think is actually the title of that book.
Gone with the Wind.
Okay, Gone with the Wind.
Correct answer. I was hoping that Holcomb, Kansas would be your clue. Truman Capote's In Cold Blood.
That's funny because I was thinking about In Cold Blood for about 3 other of these ones, and I didn't even consider that one for the Kansas one. So both teams scoring 30 points on that swing round. Neil, can you give us the most sultry voice that you can and give us a score update with your sickness?
Yeah, well, the score is going to be tied 70-70.
That's very disturbing. Thank you very much.
That update brought to you by Mucinex.
Which I need to take
Or
now.
lack thereof.
It's been 4 hours. Not a minute sooner though. Only 4 hours or more.
You don't want to OD on Mucinex.
All right, moving on to the second half. You guys ready to go?
We're ready.
Okay, your first.
I think 3 of us are ready.
I think the 4-hour time limit is up on your Viagra too.
Yeah, yeah. That's why the table's on an angle.
So your first question is going to be lyrics. I'm going to do my best to read this sort of flat and deadpan.
Mm-hmm.
Who sings the following? I want your drama, the touch of your hand. I want your leather-studded kiss in the sand.
Thank you for that, David. We are locked in.
Yeah, Matt wrote down what I thought it was as well.
We are locked in.
So I Want Your Love, Neil. That is Bad Romance by Lady Gaga.
Yep. Also went with Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga, your correct answer. Well done. All right, question 2. The multinational conglomerate 3M was formerly known by what alliterative corporate name?
This is one I've heard a long time ago.
Yeah.
I couldn't even begin this one.
So could it be someone's name? Could it be 3 products that they originally did? Could it be a word for infrastructure?
I mean, I might have the wrong company here, but I feel like 3M, the name was all about like the things that they manufactured or did originally.
Right.
But
then let's go on that train then. So what would be 3 things that start with M that would have been manufactured quite a long time ago then?
I'm trying to remember.
Like something manufacturing or multinational something. How about multinational manufacturing? And then it's weird because there's an N in there, but maybe it wasn't supposed to be. I don't know. Because people make mistakes like that all the time.
Yeah, they're MNCs.
Right, MNCs, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that we're on the right train of thought with that it was something that they did or worked on, but I can't pull it.
How about we just go multinational manufacturing?
Sure.
Okay, we are going with Macho Man Manufacturers.
Oh, I so wish that was the answer. Much better than what I've got. So once upon a time, my favorite floppy disk manufacturer, but they once went by Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing.
That's right.
Question 3. A nephrologist is a physician who specializes in what organ?
Can you spell it?
Yeah, I can. It's NEPHROLOGIST. Nephrologist.
Man, I've heard this so many times.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm pretty sure it's this.
You and me both.
If you think that's what it is, I mean...
I do think that's what it is. Yeah. I'm like 40% sure.
Okay, well, I'm 0%, so I'll lean towards you.
I'm 40% sure.
You sure it's not carburetor?
It's not carburetor.
Man, my carburetors are running smooth ever since I went to my nephrologist.
Yeah. We're locked in.
You're in?
Yeah, we're in.
All right.
Was that Nefertiti's personal doctor?
No.
We are going to go with the kidney.
We went with the noble blood scrubbing kidneys.
It is the kidneys.
All
Great
right.
job, gentlemen.
I don't know where that was in my brain, but it was somewhere.
Question 4. What actor can claim film appearances in Private Parts, Saving Private Ryan, and Saving Mr. Banks?
Well, we can lock in with the first one.
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, that's one.
You just want to lock in?
Let's go with the safe bet here. This is a great question.
So Saving Mr. Banks is...
well, we agree that Tom Hanks is in 2 of them. Let's just get that right on.
Tom Hanks is in 2 of them, but that could be David.
I'm gonna join this conversation.
Tom Hanks David could be doing that to make it, because that's a simple in, and it could be right. It could be right.
But would Tom Hanks be in Private Parts?
I don't know.
Who knows? I mean, like, he could be, like, in the background. You know what I mean? Like, it's
I
not
sort
even...
of feel like whoever this is was in Private Parts in, like, a small role and wasn't famous yet, and then was in Saving Private Ryan. Because you have, like I said, Giovanni Ribisi is a small part, Ed Burns, Adam Goldberg, Giamatti's in it, Ted Danson's in it,
Vin Diesel.
Bryan Cranston's in it, Vin Diesel's in it.
Matt Damon.
But Saving Mr. Banks, the only characters I can think of that would be this person are either the 2 composers who wrote Mary Poppins music and Emma Thompson's character hated, or maybe her husband. But I think I'm overthinking it.
Yeah.
But David could make it Tom Hanks, which is completely plausible. I have not seen Private Parts probably since I was like 12.
Appropriate 12-year-old movie.
Yeah.
I watched like Freddy when I was like 4. So I kind of want to go. Adam Goldberg looks good in like a 60s mustache. I'm going to go Giovanni Ribisi.
Okay.
Let's just go ahead.
Okay, so we just went with the simple answer of Tom Hanks, though I think you said the correct answer. Paul Giamatti actually sounds right when you said it. Go ahead.
Yep. So when I wrote the question, it was set up to think maybe it's Tom Hanks, but the correct answer is indeed Paul Giamatti.
Yeah, because I couldn't. I was trying to think of the bit players and Saving Private Ryan and Saving Mr. Banks.
Yeah.
Having seen those two, and I couldn't think of Paul Giamatti being in those. But then when you said his name, I remembered him in both films, and then I was like, oh, he would definitely do.
He would be in
Parts.
Private Parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we could have gone. That was my bad. Sorry. He definitely is in Saving
But
Mr.
we
Banks.
didn't. We did not get points to clarify for
Correct.
the audience. We went with Tom Hanks. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right, question 5. Zion National Park is located in what U.S. state?
That was my guess.
Just because of the
Just 'cause
connotations. That's fine. That's all. Well, you think about it, but that's all I can contribute.
Okay, we're in with a guess.
I think you have the same guess we do, which is a real shame because I once looked up a list of national parks so I could travel there one day. But so we went Utah.
As did we.
Yeah, shout out to one of my trivia teammates, Lori, who just got back from here. It's Utah.
All right.
Good guesses.
Weird question. Can anybody think about national park alphabetically before Arches National Park? Because that's also in Utah. That'd be interesting if it was alphabetically the first and last were in the same state.
If you can do A to Z
If
in
you
Utah.
think if you think that's interesting, okay. Some people would say that's interesting. Others would beg to differ.
Just trying to think if there was another park before Arches.
Interesting.
All right, number 6. In a pentagon, the sum of the interior angles equals how many degrees?
Yeah, we're in.
Okay. I
Oh
didn't.
man. Yeah, I have no idea.
I was like, wait, pentagram or pentagon? The pentagon.
Satan.
So, what
Do
is
your best Satan voice with your grumbly throat.
Satan voice.
Come to the dark side, Matt. And listen to Pantera.
All right, so after a little bit of math, because we didn't know this off the top of our head, we finally settled on 540.
I'm really disappointed. If I'm not mistaken, it's 540.
540 is the right answer.
Yeah.
Sometimes you could just think things out without just knowing them, Jeff.
We drew
I
quite a
didn't-
bit of pentagrams on here.
Not pentagram.
I drew a couple pentagrams. That's the kind of day I'm having.
I couldn't remember the formula though, so I did all of the geometric shapes from 10 sides down, just to
Show
Working
off.
your way down.
no, just to double check. No, well, because I know the general
Of course,
rule.
yeah, show off.
All right, question 7. Once more unto the breach, dear friends, is a line from what Shakespeare play based on the life of the English king who led his troops to victory at the Battle of Agincourt? I'm looking for the title of the Shakespeare play.
Oh.
You would know the play better. I can just name English royalty. That's kind of what I'm trying to do.
That one.
Was that English royalty?
Okay.
Yeah, they both were.
I'm in.
Colleen would know this one.
I don't know for sure.
that's the
but,
one.
Some context leads me to believe that might be correct.
Okay. We are locked in.
Once more into the breach. Oh, okay. So here's the thing. So in one of these plays, he's old, and in the other play, I think he's actually in battle because Kenneth Branagh did it where he was in battle, which would be Henry V.
Okay.
Richard III, though, is famous. I feel like he has a cane, and he's like an older.
I just wanted to knock monarchs off the list. If you think it's Henry V, I'm happy to go with that. He was kind of a bloodthirsty guy, so.
Well, here's my only logic. Richard III might be correct from a historical standpoint. From a film box cover, because a lot of people don't know this. A lot of the ways I remember movies is when I worked at Blockbuster, I memorized all the covers. And Kenneth Branagh is in battle armor, and I remember him screaming once more, or that line.
Okay.
But you might be right, though, with Richard III.
I'm good to defer to you on that one.
See, I'm not confident, though. Let's just go.
Henry V?
That's fine. Let's do it.
We went the other way with Richard III based on the historical context of his deeds.
Ooh. Your answer, Henry V.
Oh.
Good job, Neil.
That's why we always defer to box covers.
Yeah, right.
Everything that you need to know can be known through film, pretty much.
Yep.
Or box covers.
All right, on to question 8. How many times have the Olympics been held in the Southern Hemisphere?
And this is hold on, just for clarify, it's winter and summer, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Ready, Neil?
All right, you do your thing. I'm gonna sit here in a fugue state.
All right, so both teams are locked in after a little conversation on that one.
So I know for 100% Sydney's one of them. Rio was the other one for Brazil, and then I can't think of any others. The other ones I was on the fence were actually not in the southern hemisphere because I don't know hemispheres.
Well, according to me, but I'm not a geography person
with
either.
Korea
but I
and
didn't
China.
think Korea, Japan, China were at all.
Those
in
are
the
all
southern.
northern hemisphere.
So we went with 2.
Rio de Janeiro is the most recent one, 2016. Sydney was held in 2000. And if I'm not mistaken, there is a third. The 1956 Winter Games were held in Melbourne. Or there were summer games played in winter because of the hemisphere difference. Yeah. That's what it was. So we guessed 3.
Wow, spot on. Rio in 2016, Sydney in 2000, and Melbourne in 56. 3 times.
So Jeff knew one
Very
that
impressive.
we were unaware of.
I almost went 3 just for like a buffer because I'm like, there's probably a third out there.
Credit to the Winter Games, which made me very curious. And I recently looked up the full list. So
there you go.
All right, moving on to question 9. Jonathan Groff stars as FBI Special Agent Holden Ford in what Netflix-produced crime drama?
That's a great name. Holden Ford.
So we're good.
We're good.
You go.
We believe that's the David Fincher series, Mindhunter.
Yeah, we went with Mindhunter as well. When you said Jonathan Groff, I thought you were either going to go Spring Awakening, Broadway, or Glee, but then you went David Fincher, so it's Mindhunter.
Yeah, Mindhunter's right. Points for both teams.
Yeah. Really good show if you haven't watched it. Kind of binge the whole thing like one day. It's pretty awesome.
I still have to watch it.
I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Shame.
Question 10. If you want to call someone at Kennedy Space Center or Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, what area code would you dial?
It'd have to be like a special area code, right? Because it's the Space Center.
We're guessing.
You're guessing.
We didn't know. I didn't know they had a special area code.
I'm guessing it's got to be right. I mean, it's got to be a cutesy.
This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. You have no idea. Just guess.
I think it's pretty good logic, though. It's a space area.
We've gotten a few that way.
Once again, we're winning.
Wow. I have no idea.
I don't know.
We can do 101.
Okay.
Oh. Right, so you guys are in?
Yeah. 101.
We went with 000.
So when you're counting down for a rocket launch, eventually you get to 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1 is the area code.
Not bad to be cutesy.
Said it was cutesy.
Close to Chicago's.
Yeah.
312.
Yeah.
Getting crushed over here. Talking about cutesy answer. That's my job.
Okay, so coming up on the final round, myself and Matt have 120, and Neil and Jeff are up by 20 points coming out of that last round at 140. You can go ahead and give the final round categories now, and we can place our wagers.
Yeah, sure. Your final round categories are wrestling, giddy up, fun with flags, walking in Memphis, and Hadouken.
I see he does his categories in the Matt fashion.
Giddy up. Yeah, I don't either. Unless it's the last track on NSYNC's self-titled album.
Oh, it's not going to be that.
It is, though.
It's not going to be that.
You want to do that?
That's fine.
Okay. I don't know. Walking in Memphis. Do you know who sang that song?
Walking in Memphis.
They overdid it in
Michael
American
McDonald.
Idol so much.
I'm thinking it might be something else aside from the
Justin Timberlake
artist of
is
the
from
song.
Memphis.
That's fine. You want to go like 10
If they're not all Justin Timberlake.
or in sync, Matt.
Do I
Get
do
it
this?
right.
Okay, so the wagers have been placed, and now we will get our final round questions.
All right. Question 1 in the category of wrestling. The 1993 Royal Rumble eventually came down to Macho Man Randy Savage versus one other wrestler. Savage was eliminated when what corpulent combatant bench pressed Savage over the ropes to claim victory? Question 2 in the category of Giddy Up. The Pony Express was a 1,900-mile-long route with a western terminus in California and an eastern terminus in what state? All right, question 3, category Fun with Flags. The African country of Chad has a blue, yellow, and red flag that is identical to the flag of what European Union nation? Okay, question 4, category Walkin' in Memphis. Who pled guilty and was convicted of killing Martin Luther King Jr. at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis? All right, question 5, category Hadouken. In the original Street Fighter II release for Super Nintendo, players in tournament mode must fight the other 7 playable characters before facing 4 CPU-only opponents, known as the Grand Masters. Name 3 of the 4 Grand Masters. The 1993 Royal Rumble eventually came down to Macho Man Randy Savage versus one other wrestler. Savage was eliminated when what corpulent combatant bench pressed Savage over the ropes to claim victory? The Pony Express was a 1,900-mile-long route with a western terminus in California and an eastern terminus in what U.S. state? The African country of Chad has a blue, yellow, and red flag that is identical to the flag of what European Union nation? Who pled guilty and was convicted of killing Martin Luther King Jr. at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis? In the original Street Fighter II release for Super Nintendo, players in tournament mode must fight the other 7 playable characters before facing 4 CPU-only opponents, known as the Grand Masters. Name 3 of the 4 Grand Masters.
Okay, we're all locked in.
Okay. All right, so we're talking about the MLK thing. So I kept going. It's a 3 named person, and jokes aside, I went.
Do you know who shot Lennon offhand?
Yeah, he read Catcher in the Rye. It was Mark David Chapman.
It's always a 3 name, isn't it?
He was 3 named Lee Harvey Oswald, and then
Right.
Kirby shot him.
John Wilkes Booth.
And then I put Jerry Lee Lewis, and then I for some reason I wrote Nicholas Ray, but I think Ray is the last name. I don't know the first 2 names.
I'm trying to remember. When you said you wrote Billy Ray down, and I was trying to think if it was Billy Ray something
Billy Ray
or if
Cyrus.
it ended in Ray. Because I feel like you're right. I feel like Ray is something, but
And we can keep naming 3 named people all day. James Earl Jones, and
It wasn't him.
it wasn't James Earl Jones. But all right, let's just go. We'll go with that.
David Lee Roth.
okay. You're good on the wrestler one, you think?
So I have a guess on the wrestler.
Okay.
It's very, very crazy logic that only I think for some reason David would pick, knowing Ken. I don't want to say it out loud right now. I'll say it when
fine.
we say it because it's insane. But I know the guy was around 1993. I had a figure of him, and I'm just guessing, but I feel like it's right. All right, we're good.
Locked in.
All right, first one in the category of wrestling. What were your wagers?
We went with 20.
We also went with 20.
The 1993 Royal Rumble came down to Macho Man Randy Savage versus one other man. Who claimed victory in that Royal Rumble?
I'm pretty sure this is the year. This was the year, probably his biggest year, and I know he went on to WrestleMania this year, and I'm pretty sure it's Yokozuna.
So my logic was, if David listens to the show, he knows Ken talks about Japan a lot.
I don't.
I had a figure of
You talk about how I talk about Japan a lot.
well, it's up to David. He listens. So, and Yokozuna was really big that year, and I don't know specifically if he won the Rumble, but
He's pretty big every year, isn't he?
yeah,
Not anymore.
So
He's very dead.
looking for an overweight wrestler, and that would have been a big time period. We went Yokozuna as well.
Your correct answer, Yokozuna.
All
Great
right.
job. All right, now in the category of Giddy Up, what were your wagers?
We went with 10.
Big 10.
Goose egg.
Good choice.
Yeah. Turns out good choice.
All right, Pony Express, 1,900 miles long, western terminus in California. What did you say was the eastern terminus?
This was hard because we have no idea where this runs. We just went with Texas. Pretty big. Maybe it could land in there somewhere.
I feel like this was St. Louis, Missouri, but I could be wrong. We got nothing on it, so we went with Missouri.
So I don't believe it's St. Louis, and I'm going to blank on the city name, but Missouri is your correct state.
We almost had that.
Missouri, the answer that we crossed out.
You're two. I was gonna say you're 2 states off with Texas, but you had Missouri written. Sorry,
Sure
I
did.
misunderstood.
That's okay.
All right, third category, fun with flags. What were the wagers?
Got a big 0 on this one.
We went with a 15. That's the first
Unprecedented.
time that's ever been wagered.
That's a triple Oakland.
The African country of Chad has the same flag as what EU nation?
We went with the home of Kristaps Porzingis and Latvia.
I believe this is Romania.
Correct answer, Romania.
I had no help on that one whatsoever.
Latvia has green, or Latvia and Lithuania have green in them. Estonia's is the white, black, and blue. I've been watching a lot of Olympics lately.
Oh, perfect.
All right, fourth category, walk it in Memphis. What were the wagers?
Got 10 on that one.
We want 10 points.
All right, who pled guilty and was convicted of killing MLK?
Oddly, we just had no idea on this one. That's probably pretty bad, but we just said Jones.
Yep.
Let's just go with the last name only, like we had written down anyway, just in case.
Yeah. No, that's fine.
That you're incorrect.
Yeah.
But so we basically kept saying the name Ray, and we didn't know if it was a first name or a last name, but it stuck with us. So we went official answer, last name Ray.
Now, fortunately, I believe Neil is correct because the name James Earl Ray came to me, and I'm almost positive we are right.
It is another 3-part name, James Earl Ray.
There was a reason we couldn't get Ray out of our heads, Neil.
So in the category of Hadouken, what were your wagers?
We went big 30.
We went with 10.
Okay. And the original Street Fighter II release for Super Nintendo, I need to know 3 of the 4 Grandmasters.
So we weren't too sure on this. I don't know how much Jeff and I know about Street Fighter, but
Turns out not a lot.
No, we just named 3 characters that we believe are in Street Fighter. So we went with Blanca, Bison, and Chun-Li.
So me and Matt stressed out about this a little bit. I, for one, grew up with a Sega Genesis, which also had Street Fighter II on it, but it was a little bit different than the Super Nintendo version. There were some added characters, and apparently these Grandmasters were more distinct. But I remember the last 4 characters you face in the Sega version were M. Bison, Sagat, Vega, and Balrog. So we went with Confidence for the bad characters and went with Vega, Sagat, and M. Bison.
So your 4 Grandmasters are Balrog, Vega, Sagat, and M. Bison.
All right.
Got one of them.
So following the final round, I have Jeff and Neil with 175, Matt and Ken with 150. That makes today's cream of the crop, Jeff and Neil.
I am the cream, the cream of the crop.
Good game, guys. That was pretty
2
stressful.
0-2 for me and Matt now.
Yeah, we're on a bit of a streak, but we're actually tanking for a better draft pick. So.
Looks like we're
And actually, both games were pretty close.
They were very
I can't
close.
feel bad about that.
very close games. We're coming up on free agency, so there might be some trades.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much, David, for hosting today. It was a really great game.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. That was a blast.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back if you ever want to come back and host again. Is our as we're saying officially now, our first listener and our first Patreon, first patron. So any last words, David? Anything you'd like to plug? Anything else?
Yeah, just hello to my usual trivia buds I play with on every Wednesday night. I know they listen to the podcast. Also, thanks to the wife for keeping the kids pretty quiet when I was recording this today. Thank you to the dogs for not barking at any squirrels out the windows. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the squirrels for not being present.
But yeah, this was a lot of fun, and you guys played really well, I thought. And thanks again for having me on.
That's a great game. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right. Thanks again one last time for David for hosting. It was a really great game. If you wanted to get in touch with us or potentially host a show, one of the best ways to do that is to become a Patreon. One of the rewards is being able to either host or be on the show, so we really appreciate all of our patrons. If you have a question 5 submission, you can always send it to us at trivialitypodcast@gmail.com, or just get in touch with us in general at our website at trivialitypodcast.com. Best way to spread the word is to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. We're going to have a YouTube going up. We'll have all sorts of things coming up for you. So be on the lookout for that. So for Neil, Jeff, and Ken, my name's Matt, and that was Triviality.
Don't yell it! It's unfair!
Fern, you will have to learn to control yourself.
Control myself! This is a matter of life and death!
Run along.
But it's unfair! This is the most terrible case of injustice I ever heard of!
You know, I've got a good mind to let you raise this pig. Then you'd see what trouble a pig can be.
Oh, Papa!
All right. He's yours. Saved from an untimely death.